I think he's got a sterling chance. He's 16-1. I think he's got a right chance here.
He could jump them into submission. So he's one that I will be playing on Friday.
He's just what you want National Hunt Racing to be.
You sound like you're in love.
Hello and welcome back to the Only Fools of Horses YouTube channel. We're rolling back in to a Cheltenham meeting, the third of the year and the final one of 2024. The Cheltenham December Meeting rolls into view after the exploits of the Tingle Creek and the Henry VIII just on the weekend gone. Storm Dara is gone and Cheltenham is in full view. It's myself and Harry on this evening. Harry, I suppose you were at Sandown for the Tingle Creek meeting. A nice trip to the racecourse for you. How was it? What was the vibe like? What was the racing must have been enjoyable as well.
It was more entertaining than the drive there. Let me tell you, I was hanging on for dear life. Driving down the M25 and M40, it was a rough old trip, but it was worth it because I thought what we saw on Saturday was proper National Hunt racing. I mean, I said it on the show on Sunday night. Quick plug for that if you haven't already. There's still time to listen back. It turned boys into men, I thought, and there were tired horses, but there were horses that were very brave, and I thought bravery came to the fore, and you saw that with some performances like Load of Sud and Jonbon. Again, he's obviously 5 wins out of 5 from Sandown, I think, off the top of my head. 8 grade ones. He's just a remarkable horse, and on the contrary, we've seen a very exciting young English prospect going over the 2 mile division in Load of Sud. So yeah, a great weekend all in all. How was yours?
Yeah, good weekend. I really enjoyed Jonbon and the Tingle Creek. It was one of those performances where it was like, betting didn't matter, and it was a really enjoyable performance to watch. And I thought he was very, very good. And we'll talk a bit more about the weekend actually later on in the video, because we're going to do a bit differently for this video. We're just the 2 of us on, and we're going to sort of just run through the December Gold Cup. It's the big race of the weekend. The December meeting is a good meeting, but ultimately it's not like a revolutionary meeting kind of thing. Like, it's not massive race that are going to affect Cheltenham Festival markets, or we don't think so anyway. So we're just going to go for the December Gold Cup. We're going to go runner by runner. I'm taking the even numbers. Harry's taking the odd numbers. Very quick lines on those horses. We'll do anything else for any sort of bets or fantasy we have, and then maybe just quickly full circle it back to the Tingle Creek and what we thought on the weekend's racing. So a nice little chill video, I guess. A nice little chill talk about the December Gold Cup. So let's roll in, Harry. I'll go with the betting first. Madara 6-1, Fab Fugitif looking to retain his title 13-2, Garlaw 8-1, Sage Star the same price, Grandeur D'Ame 10s, the same price as Ridoto, the Paddy Power Gold Cup winner, Gemirande 12s, in Excelsis Deo 12s, James de Berlais 14s, the same as Le Patron, Pinkerton 16s, Shakem Up'arry 20-1, which is spelt wrong in there, Guard Your Dreams 25-1, and Sure Touch 33s. So we're going to horse number 1, and Harry, I'll give this to you. Stage Star.
Yeah, he's had a wind surgery over the summer. He came back in the old roan. I thought he ran pretty well. He obviously petered out in the final stages, but he wasn't beaten all that far. He was actually beaten less than what I thought he was. He only beaten three and 3/4 lengths behind obviously Manila Drama, Hitman, Oi Senor with the questionable ride. That obviously had that really lengthy stewards inquiry. I think Stage Star second run after a wind up. They were quite keen on skipping the race that he won last year, which obviously being the Paddy Power Gold Cup, and coming straight to the December Gold Cup. So I think it's a good move. He will have to carry top weight, and I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him build on it, but this time, his record, his career best performance was in the Paddy Power Gold Cup, carrying top weight. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him bang there at the finish.
Yeah, mark of 162. It's a good step up from 155 in the Paddy Power Gold Cup. Garlaw, number 2 in the race. Look, I suppose he's a bit of a he's doing himself a disservice for running so well without actually winning. Like his last one was the Trials Day meeting last season, and before that's the Paddy Power Gold Cup. He ran a good race in the Paddy Power Gold Cup, just gone behind Ridoto. Had the benefit of race fitness on a couple of race rivals in there. The same for that goes to Ridoto and Let's Go Champ to some extent. He's been put up a pound. I suppose Jamie Stone's quite happy with that, because he was talking to me and saying that maybe the Sylvain Echo Conti chase could be for him. They're going to it's basically a case of running off top weight in a handicap or running in graded races going forward. He's a bit of handicapped out of it, but I could see him running another solid race. Like he hands the ground as well. It's probably going to be on the better side of good to soft. Like I can't say he's going to go and absolutely bolt up, because 156 is a high mark considering he was winning off 150 on Trials Day in 2024. But he's got his chance. But he could just be He's not the best handicapped horse in the race. Number 3, James de Berlais, Harry.
Very interesting horse. He's quite interesting actually because he's only actually won once over in Ireland at Ferry House. All his rest of his wins have come from France. However, he has still picked up just shy of £400,000 in prize money. So he's a pretty good horse. He's very talented. He obviously was second behind Arizona Cardinal at Aintree. I think he's a very, very good horse. Just because of his lack of wins, I wouldn't be siding with him, and maybe they might be looking at another tilt at something like Aintree or coming back for the plate in March. I wouldn't be with him on Saturday.
Yeah, I think it could be quite a high weight for him as well, even though he is a classy horse. Le Patron supposed to be the same case, 153. He won the last day at Newbury of 146. So we can put up £8 for that. Freddie Mitchell was on last time and he's going to be on this time as well. So the £5 claim he takes off doesn't really have an effect in the grand scheme of his whole ratings. I suppose you can maybe say like you don't know where his ceiling is of his it's his last 6 runs I can see on screen. He's won 4 of them. He was 4th or 5th, beaten quite far behind Nickelback in the Scilly Isles, and then pulled up behind Grey Dawning in the Turners. So 2 Grade 1 events there where he didn't really run to his best, but he was a Grade 1 winner before that at Sandown. He was a nice handicap winner for 122 at Sandown in November. So I suppose he could be unexposed, but I think he maybe caught a couple of horses out in Newbury last time out. It was a good ride, a really good ride from Freddie Mitchell, but the race maybe wasn't the best on the form as well either. I mean, Scarface was in second, who's been just a tough horse to win with for Joe Tizard and connections. Gallop de Chasse in third, who was coming off the back of a win, so he's probably harshly handicapped. Lord Baddesley was in there. San Segal finished 5th, having had a bad start. So it's probably a winnable race the last day. He's been given £8 for it. I think he's just probably badly handicapped, though. I suppose ceiling-wise, maybe he could have a little bit of room to wiggle with. Last year's winner, Fugitif Harry, running off a £1 lower mark.
Yeah, he's very interesting. I thought he ran really well in the Paddy Power Gold Cup, and obviously with him coming back now and winning, obviously this time last year, I think he's got a massive old chance. The only problem would be is I didn't like the way that he kind of travelled through the race. You never really know with him, but you know he finishes his race strongly. He will want them to kind of go pretty hard, I'd imagine, them and then come back to him because I think he likes passing horses. Sean Bowen's obviously already booked on top. He's priced accordingly. I think around 13-2. I think if he touches anywhere north of 7-8-1, I think he's a really good each way player. And in what looks a tough race, but without the likes of Ridoto in there, and we don't know what the top horses carrying the top weight, whether they're going to go. I think he's a live player, Fugitif.
Ridoto is there, Harry. He is number 6. But
that was my best.
Yeah. You're allowed one mistake in a video.
It's what I've done. What I've done for everyone watching this for reference. I've gone through and I've only done the odds. So I've just got rid of everything. So Ridoto was one that's obviously skipped my name, and obviously he's in there. That's my bad. Silly mistake.
Covered your back perfectly there. No, look, Ridoto, I suppose, nice winner of the Paddy Power Gold Cup last time out. I suppose the same thing for Galor goes with him. The fact he probably caught a couple of horses needing race fitness. He had a run at Chepstow and didn't run very well, but that just brought him on massively. And he was a really well handicapped horse in the Paddy Power Gold Cup, like 141. The reason why I backed him the last day, yes, get the trumpet out, was because he was so well handicapped off that mark. He was running in races that were a lot better, and he was running them off higher marks going back for his form, even though he was sort of a hard horse to win with. He had £8 from Fugitif in the December Gold Cup last year. He only gets £1. So I suppose on that pure form line, you have to say that Fugitif's got a better chance than him. And I just do think there's going to be a couple more horses that will be a bit race fitter and potentially tougher to deal with. Though I do think he's still got a really good chance because I thought he won the Paddy Power Gold Cup like a graded horse, and he has shown to be a graded horse in the past, but just not. He just dipped a little bit down for his career. So 149 is workable, but I do think there are better handicapped horses potentially in the race. So we'll see how he runs in this, but I'm not totally ruling him out. Number 7, Shakem Up'arry. Harry.
Very good. Yeah, he's obviously the plate winner. He had pretty much all of these in behind back in March. So on that form, he has to be bang there. However, the fact that if I'm right in saying his work when he was at Newbury was particularly bad.
I was going to say that he worked quite badly at Newbury.
So, and that would be my worry going into a race like today. I don't think that as big of a race as it is, being the December Gold Cup, I think they'll be working back from March, and hopefully, look, this could be the plan just to get him fitter. Obviously, when he went to Aintree after he did win the plate, he ran terribly, and the steward's report after said that the jockey felt he ran flat. So I think he's a horse who probably will take a couple of runs to get fit, and when he is ready and when he is on song, he's a threat to be reckoned with.
I completely agree. I think they'll be working back with March from him, and probably not the day for him. Number 8, Pinkerton. I think he's got a sterling chance. He's 16-1. I think he's got a right chance here. You have to sort of take it a pinch of salt in the fact that the last 2 times he ran a handicap company, he won both races. So you maybe be suggesting, is he getting towards the top of his handicap mark? But he was rated 147 when he ran in Down Royal the last day behind Founder 50. Like the British handicapper, to my eye, hasn't given anything to him to coming over the Irish Sea, which is a bit of a surprise in my eyes. And that Founder 50 form looks pretty decent. I suppose he went on to win next time out at Navan. You could potentially say that Founder 50 fell in when beating Solness, but he still has some great Grade 1 form as a novice chaser, beating Massachusetts at Aintree, finishing second to Gaelic Warrior in the Arkle, finishing second to Ilete Tomps, beating My Mate Mozzie. So you have to say that Founder 50 form is really quite good. And it was his first run since running in a maiden at Navan in a flat race. So I suppose that would have brought him on, but not truly, because it was only 9 days after running that flat race. He won the Galway Plate of 138. He beat some nice horses that day, Duffel Coat being one of them, Zana here, Life in the Park, Chemical Energy, Let's Go Champ, Hurricane Georgie, Percival Lagawa, Am I Right, Ida's Boy, Authorized Star. These are really, really good horses. The level he was holding in Ireland is probably better than quite a lot of the level these horses have been holding here in Britain, especially on a pure basis. That Let's Go Champ form line looks really good, considering he came over to the Paddy Power Gold Cup and finished second. So you'd have to say he has a really good chance based on that pure form line. I think he's still unexposed. I think he's a graded horse. He's been running in some really nice races through his career. I think he's got an absolute belting chance here. They're not coming over for no reason, and the drying ground's going to really suit him as well. So I think Pinkerton's got a great chance here, 16-1. He's one of the outsiders in the market currently, but if they take their chance of him, which I see no reason for them not to, I think he'll run a big race. Number 9, Ollie Murphy's Sure Touch.
I don't think he'll be landing a touch on Saturday, if I'm going to be brutally honest. Look, he's a summer plate winner. He had the likes of Soul Icon and Boomborn was in there. Obviously, he won the Rising Stars, I believe, at Wincanton, if I'm right in saying. But I just think that he took so well to the Aintree fences, I thought, last time out when he finished behind King Turgeon in the Grand Sefton. I think that they might be looking. He could be a national horse. Whether he'd get in, I'm not too sure. But I wouldn't be. I think that'd be further down the line. And at this moment in time, he doesn't have the class to win this. I think if he wins this, it'll be a pretty poor renewal. That's my honest opinion.
Fair enough. In Excelsis Deo, number 10. I know you've had a love affair with this horse going forward, Harry. Going back, but he's probably just right at the top of his handicap mark. I don't he was meant to be this well handicapped horse through all of last season, and it took him until the April meeting at Cheltenham to actually land a race, and that was probably because of benefit of decent ground and catching a couple of horses at the end of their season. I suppose beating Hang In There by 4 lengths is half decent, because Hang In There went to go and improve and is a really nice horse of good ground. But you look at the likes of Scarface and Torn and Frayed in there, and Hidalgo Bihu, and I don't think the race is great that you want at Cheltenham in April, to be honest. He's probably right at the top of his handicap mark. I think he'll like the drying ground, but he's also just a really hard horse to win with. You remember watching him in the plates, he looked to be sort of struggling, and then he sort of picked up late and was a real eye catcher. That was 137. He runs of 142. I wouldn't fancy him in this, unfortunately, but look, he could go and prove me very wrong. He is wearing those green and gold silks. Number 11, Madara, the current favourite.
Has a favourite chance based on the look of last time out in the Paddy Power. I thought it was a pretty taken run. The fact that this horse came from all the way back, obviously won at Leopardstown last February. There's no reason to suggest that this horse shouldn't run well. Obviously won on this card last year at the race before, where he obviously beat in Excelsis Deo, Fernando Silva, Calico. So it's a good race, and he was racing off £10 higher. That's not a lot for the way that he won. Now, whether he's got enough to win this, I'd say based on. It's just one of them that I wouldn't put all my faith in. I'd like to see horses that go and do it. And given the ride that he had, I thought I expected more from him. But that's just my opinion. I think 6-1's a little bit skinny. Fair play if you're taking him on. He seems to be the talking horse, but he wouldn't be for me.
Fair enough. Number 12, Gemirande. I think he's got an interesting chance, this Gemirande. He's been a good horse, and he's been a real big improver when he was running in the 2022-2023 season. He started the season off a mark of 116, dropped to 114, and then he finished the season off 135. That's because he won a race at Seville, he won a race at Wetherby, finished second to the Big Bite in the Greatwood Gold Cup at Newbury, and then he finished third to Caribbean Boy in the Silver Trophy Handicap Chase at the April meeting in 2023. So he's a good horse, and he's been a steady improver. He had a bit of a break off until he returned last season, where he was well beaten at Newbury, well beaten at Cheltenham, and then well beaten at Cheltenham again. He has an affinity to pretty much any ground, but a lot of it tends to be on good ground. Like, he was second in the Greatwood Gold Cup on good ground. He won on good soft at Wetherby. He won on good ground at Seville. So I think the drying conditions will help him. He absolutely bolstered up at Ascot last time out of 128, won as easy as you'd like. And you can arguably say giving him £8 compared to other horses that have been given £8, who got given £8 in this race I just spoke about, Le Patron at Newbury. You could arguably say that he's got off nice, considering that Le Patron got given the same win for his same amount of pounds for his Newbury win. I think he's very interesting, and Venetia's forms is cracking at the moment. We are in Venetia Wonderland. He's probably one of the few horses in Venetia's yard that actually tends to prefer the better ground. So I could see him running on into a place. Gemirande at 12-1 there, and he is number 12 as well. Guard Your Dreams, Harry, the penultimate horse talked about, number 13.
Yeah, look, he's 25-1, but he creeps in there at the bottom of the weights. He'd obviously be carrying pretty much the lowest weight. There would be a rate of 136, but he is a winner over fences. It'd be a tough ask as a novice going into a race as deep as this, I think. But I thought the way that he jumped at Warwick would leave him in good stead. But obviously, Cheltenham and Warwick are two completely different tracks. And in my opinion, I thought he came there to win the race against Peaky Boy. And now Peaky Boy could be absolutely anything. We don't know. But I just think he petered out, and they won't stop at the front end in a race like this. So that'd be where I go with him. But he's 25-1 for a reason. If you get extra place on the day, I can't see him running a bad race. Put it that way.
And very finally, Grandeur D'Ame, number 14, gets in here right at the bottom. I think he might have just caught a nice race at Chepstow last time out. He beat Galore, who was having a seasonal reappearance and was coming on for the run and prepping for the PayPal Gold Cup. He beat the King of Ryhope, who's having a seasonal reappearance. He beat Sansegal, who's having a seasonal reappearance. He beat Ridoto, who's having a seasonal reappearance before he ran in the PayPal Gold Cup. And the rest of the field were 24 lengths back kind of thing. I just think he caught a nice race the last day at Chepstow, and a really winnable one. I suppose for the fact that he's only been given £4, and I think the drying conditions will help him. He was fourth in the December Gold Cup last year, beaten 10 lengths by Fugitif. So on that pure line, he's not got much of a chance, and he's running off exactly the same rating. But I think the dry conditions will help him more than potentially help Fugitif. I think Fugitif does probably need that softer conditions. I just think it'll be tough to reverse 10 lengths with Fugitif and Ridoto and the other horses that he hasn't come up against off exactly the same mark that he ran in the December Gold Cup. He's a nice horse, but might just be handicapped right to his limit. But we'll see. That's the field, Harry. I'm going to put you on the spot here, but 1, 2, 3. Do you have a 1, 2, 3? And it could be from a horse you haven't mentioned.
Yeah, well, I'd have to say Fugitif. I just think his run in the Paddy Power I thought was taken. I thought the Jonbon got a right old tune of him. I just think obviously coming back here off a pound lower than when he won the race last year, I think it's only going to stand him in good stead. And if they start coming back to him, he's going to light up and he will fly up the hill. Second, I've got to go James de Berlais. Even though what I've said, just the fact that this horse is such a prize money merchant in a way. He just keeps on picking prize money up, but he just doesn't win. So for that reason, I'm going to go second. And third, I'm going to go with an Excelsis Deo, just because the cliff is that high now. I may as well just keep following.
Fair enough. I'll actually just... I think it's actually going to be 3 horses that I've mentioned. Maybe that's just with the blinkers on, having spent more time on them. But my winner is Pinkerton. I have him on screen because that's completely by accident. But my winner would be Pinkerton. My second will be Ridoto. and my third will be Gemirande. I think they'll have that. I think they'll be the three that will potentially like the conditions and have maybe got a bit about them still to go and improve. That's the December Gold Cup. I'll go for anything else, Harry, across the whole weekend. We're going to form it all into one. Is there any other horses that have caught your eye from any of the other races at Cheltenham this weekend that you'd like to mention to the glorious Only Fools Love Horses viewers?
Yeah, well, I thought Stumptown in the cross country had a right old chance. I just think that this horse, has, since coming over the banks, I thought has got a right old chance, and I thought that his run last time out was impressive. He seems to keep on who knows how to ride, and especially in a race like that, I think it's so imperative that you do have someone on top that knows the way, not just knows the way around. Obviously, we saw what happened with the likes of Tommy Bow. How unfortunate that was in November, but Keith Donoghue knows that course like the back of his hand, and he knows where to go, knows how to fire the horses in, and I think he's got a willing partner in Stumptown, and we know what Gavin Cromwell can do at this time of the year, especially coming overseas to Cheltenham, is what he did last year. So yeah, Stumptown for me.
Very good. I'll just mention three that are running on Friday. The first one isn't priced up yet, but that 12:40, the 2.5 mile novice chase, what a race it could be. Just going through the entries, you got Springwell Bay in there, Tedley, Better Days Ahead, Coldwell Potter, Peaky Boy, Westerner in the Park, Deafening Silence, Gigaro, Theatre Man. I suppose the one I have to mention is Django Bay. I think he could be a real smart novice chaser this season. I think he's going to go, which maybe a couple in here might not. Some of the Irish horses may not come over. I think Django Bay is a very, very nice horse, and I think he could be a very nice 3 mile novice chaser. He is having his first run of the season, but I suppose Nick Henson's are doing okay. We saw Jinko Blue, the same connections, win first time out today as we record on Tuesday. So I could see him running well, but look, I'd like to see full decks and prices before actually playing. But I actually do have two horses that could be very interesting that are already priced up for my racing post. Loads up in plenty of time. I believe the 150 at Cheltenham is where I'm first going. It's got the race that's Chianti Classico in there, Fontaine Collonge and all those horses. But I thought there was a bit of a chance for Chemical Energy if he comes over for Gordon Elliott. 20-1. He's probably just on a mark that can make him workable. He ran in the Kerry National. I thought he'd run a half decent race that day behind Florian Porter, but the ground went for him at the final moment. It went soft ground. And this is a horse that needs good ground. But you don't have to go too far back to see him running well in National Hunt chases when finishing second to Garda May Neal, winning at the October meeting 2022 and bolting up and beating Mile of Mission. The form of that race is questionable, but it does show that he likes good ground. He has an affinity for Cheltenham as well. If they're going to come over, he's race fit and he will get his ground, I'm pretty sure. So Chemical Energy, 20-1 is a big price. I'm not sure if he's going to come over or not, but I think he could outrun his odds if he does. And in the 225, the race just after the middle distance veterans handicap chase, I thought if they ran Chamblou, Dan Skelton and Harry Skelton, he could be very interesting. I know he's had his issues ever since he fell in the Charlie Hall a couple of seasons ago. He hasn't been the best the same horse since, but he's shown enough in his last two runs to suggest to me that he's still got ability of 141. He finished third behind 335 and Rapper at Ascot in a 3 mile handicap chase. He ran a really good race that day, but just peaced out at the final moment. He ran at Bangor over 3 miles the last day at soft ground. Travelled, stopped like he, stopped like the proverbial, and just needed the run at Bangor last time out. So I'd say
good save.
Thank you very much. But yeah, drop the pound for that, and I think this has probably been a bit of a plan. So drop back in trip.
Can I just mention Eldorado Allo in that race as well, Ash? He jumps so well at Warwick, and for a race, honestly, I was watching the race thinking, I really hope you go and win now, because the way that he jumped, he didn't deserve to be beaten, and he was just worn down in the end by Torn and Frayed, who was carrying plenty of weight less, and it doesn't look like there is bar the likes of Eden DeHoo and others in there. I think if Eldorado Allen can get loose like he did, he could jump them into submission. So he's one that I will be playing on Friday, because I am actually there. I'm going now on Friday.
I believe we're all there. Lee's there for the tipster, so best of luck to him. And I'll be there because you can't get me out of that place. And you're there. You working or social?
Friday I'm working. Saturday I am on the proverbial Ash.
Working.
No, I'm not. If you are there at Cheltenham, make sure you do come and see us. I know Lee mentioned he'd get you a pint, but I mean, if everyone stuck to that word, then I won't be leaving that place. So
I'll offer up.
yeah,
I'll offer up the bet as well. I think I did it for November meeting. I'll offer up the bet. If you see me walking around, I don't look like I'm, got my chin on the floor, having back to loser. Just, come and say hi. I'll buy you a pint. Only the first person though. I am very poor.
yeah.
Yeah, but look,
Oh,
Shamblu, 141. I reckon he can run a good race in that veterans contest. Harry, we said we were going to talk a little bit about the weekend just gone, so we'll just do that as our final part
yep.
of the video. Again, look, we apologies for not having sort of any guests on this week, but I suppose there's only a limited amount of people we could speak to, and we've had plenty of on this season, so I'm sure we'll get some more guests on coming forward. But I suppose Tingle Creek and all that jazz, Harry, if I could ask you maybe your favourite performance of the weekend just gone, with maybe a view to the future, and is there an eye catcher as well that potentially went under the surface that you could be a bit interested by?
Well, if you're talking about Jonbon, I just think that he's becoming this horse that everyone knew he or thought he could be. But I just think he's now getting the respect that he deserves. I thought when Coleman said in his racing post review, kind of the anti-post look at the season when he was talking about Constitution Hill, he said that Nico de Boinville was using Jonbon, an 8-time Grade 1 winner, a back-to-back Tingle Creek winner, as a break. Now, let's not talk about Constitution Hill, but let's just talk about the fact that a horse could do that to Jonbon. Now, albeit he is mature, he's obviously more mature now, and he always has been that kind of buzzy sort. But I just think the way that he's coming about his career, it's just a special horse. He really did get a bad cut on his back leg, his back foot. Yeah, it was really bad. So fingers crossed that's okay. It wasn't nice to see, but it didn't dampen the fact of what this horse has done. And Nico gave him a brilliant ride. He obviously gets on so well since Aidan Coleman doesn't ride him anymore. We'll go to Loda Sud. He was smashing. I don't know what you thought about him, but I think he's really establishing himself now as a battle hardened proper Arkle type. That's what he screams to me. What does he scream to you?
I suppose, like I said it on the Sunday show, and I put this on TikTok about an hour ago, so it's a shameless plug there for my TikTok. But like, it was good, but like I have questions for an Arkle. I question the form. Like, Touch Me Not took that fence home back to Cluntra House with him. Down memory lane, didn't really like the ground and was a bit sort of off the bridle, and then came back onto it, and it was weird. And Soul Icon, as much as he's great for Kieran Burke, he's not a Grade 1 horse. So I just question the form a little bit.
He is actually being targeted for Kempton. He's going to Kempton, and
Soul
apparently, I spoke to the owners on Saturday. I can't think of what they said. He's going to pay me now, but he is going to Kempton.
Would it be the Wayward Lad?
The race I would have no idea, but he's going on Boxing Day.
Like Shishkin and Altior have won before, 2 miles novice chase.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
He's just like, I just question the form. He got in sticky to a couple of fences, and like Dan Skelton said afterwards that he's potentially, we know now he's better. He's a better horse for better ground, and like, look, they deal with the horse day in, day out. They obviously, see things that we don't. So, like, fair enough, respect that completely. Just the one thing I'd say is he's got a very soft ground laden pedigree. Like, this is the reason why I took him on in the Arkle trial at the November meeting. He's got a very, very soft ground laden pedigree, very French bred. Like, I thought that conditions really suits him on the weekends, just, slogging weather, just have a bit of a bash. And his form over hurdles was just that, with Betfair Hurdle second and County Hurdle second. They were on proper soft ground. He was okay, but Jonbon was really good. I think he really set the standard in the champion chase. Obvious, he's the 5-2 Fav. I don't think a Nergamen would beat him on a. I just think he's 11 next season, an Nergamen. He's had his issues. I don't know. It wouldn't be for me. Jonbon set the standard. I think the only horse that can really touch him is Gaelic Warrior, but Gaelic Warrior will need to improve his tactical speed, I think. I thought he won that Arkle through a lot of stamina and just sort of grinding it out when he jumped the last. Jonbon is a proper speed freak, and he's just got, like, he oozes ability. Gaelic Warrior does that, but if they got into a speed test, I think I'd back Jonbon to beat Gaelic Warrior. But yeah, I love, without swearing, I love Jonbon. I think he's great in the he's just what you want National Hunt Racing to be. You sound
like you're in love. You sound like you're in love. Like you are flustered by by the green and gold of JT McManus.
He's just great. He's just great. What a horse. Fair play. And hopefully, like, I really hope he wins a Queen Mother. He's got this stigma that he's not a Cheltenham horse, but he's been beaten by Constitution Hill, El Fabiolo, and Elixir de Nuts when he should have fallen. Like, that's not suggesting he's not a Cheltenham horse at all. I think he run really well in a
and
he
still looked like the winner jump in the last.
Yeah.
That's the mad thing about that obviously rearranged Clarence House. That was just the way that he made it at such a, and even though they're miles away from home, that's such a crucial point of the race, because he was kind of just getting into gear, and the revs are up, and all of a sudden you take, and then there's a fence coming down the hill where you are, it's a matter of strides pretty much. And then obviously you've got the run for home, and he took all of that time, and he still looked like the winner, and he got beaten by no mug. Let's take it right in Elixir de Nuts,
Yeah, I'm going to highlight an eye catcher. I think this horse will be really well handicapped. Welcome to Cartrees was fourth behind Handstands in the Esher Novices Chase, first run of the season, first run after 230 days. He got an official mark of 135 after running at Sandown. I think that's fine. I think his runs over novice hurdles have allowed him to be so well handicapped over fences, because he wasn't winning graded races as a novice hurdler. He ran in one and finished second, but was well beaten by Kerry Hill. He ran a really good race at Sandown. He travelled, jumped beautifully. He's a proper chaser in the making, just needed the run. And I think that was sort of like, that showed. But he even tried to rally when he jumped the second last and sort of went up that far side and Handstands came at the centre. He even tried to rally. But I think he's a really well handicapped horse if they go over into a handicap with him, which I see no reason not to. Let's exploit that mark, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go on. But I think he'd run a good race in going forward if he jumps into a handicap. I think he's a proper 3-mile chaser, real slogger. I thought he's a pretty good eye catcher. Any other bits of business to attend to, Harry?
Not that I know of, mate. Maybe Arabs. Are we doing a Saturday live because we're all going to be out? If Lee's won Tipstart, he certainly won't be sober. I probably won't be. Well, actually, it depends if I'm driving. Because if I'm driving, then it's a different story. But it could be a. Please do come and say hello. We had a few people last time we were at Cheltenham. It was a good crack, and it was good stuff. So.
Yeah, I'll probably be about for a Saturday live if others are about. But yeah, if we are 10:30 a.m. on Twitter at OFLH Racing on Twitter, the Saturday live. We'll do the Sunday show. We won't be doing a Sunday show actually because it's the Christmas quiz that Lee's going to be hosting on 22nd or the 21st, whichever one. No, 22nd. Day after that. So. We're doing that as well, and just updates on the social media. It's a bit of a different video. This, I hope you all enjoyed. Best of luck if you're having a play on any Cheltenham fancies going forwards. If you're having a play, please do it responsibly. But yeah, we'll see you very, very soon.